You're on a walk now. Your dog stops at a patch of grass, not for a second, not for two, 30 seconds, 40, a full minute, nose buried in the ground like it's decoding something urgent. To you it looks pointless, maybe even obsessive. Nothing is there. No food, no toy, no visible animal, just dirt. And yet your dog is completely absorbed. So you pull the leash. Come on. But what if that moment, what looks like doing nothing, is actually one of the most cognitively intense things your dog does all day? What if sniffing isn't just smelling? What if it's reading, mapping, calculating, and remembering? Because according to neuroscience, when your dog stops to sniff, it isn't slowing down the walk, it is building a whole world. And unlike your world built mostly through sight, your dog's world is built through scent. A world so detailed, so layered, and so neurologically rich, it changes how their brain understands space itself. To understand why, you have to start with one fact. Dogs don't smell better than humans. They smell differently. Yes, radically differently. Humans have around 6 million olfactory receptors. Dogs can have up to 300 million. But the real difference isn't just quantity, it's processing power. The part of the brain dedicated to smell olfactory bulb is proportionally about 40 times larger in dogs than in humans. That means smell isn't just a sense, it's a primary operating system. For you, walking through a park is visual. Trees, grass, people, movement. For your dog, that same park is chemical history. Who was here? How long ago? What emotional state they were in? Whether they were healthy, stressed, fearful, reproductive, in many cases, even what direction they moved. Because scent isn't static, it moves through time, and that changes everything. Neuroscientists have long understood that smell has unusually direct access to memory. Unlike vision or sound, scent bypasses many of the brain's filtering system and connects quickly to emotional and memory centers like the hippocampus and the amygdala. That matters because the hippocampus is where spatial memory is built. Your dog isn't just detecting smells, it's attaching location to information. That tree isn't just a tree, it's where the anxious German Shepherd passed 2 hours ago. That fire hydrant isn't just metal, it's where 3 neighborhood dogs exchanged chemical information this morning. This is what scientists call a cognitive map, a mental model of the environment. And for dogs, scent is one of the main ways that map gets updated. Every sniff changes the map, every smell adds data, and unlike visual memory, scent memory can contain social information. That's where things become even stranger. When dogs sniff urine, grass, sidewalks, or trees, they're not just detecting odor, they're detecting signatures, chemical identity. Embedded inside that scent are biological markers called pheromone, signals carrying information about sex, stress, reproductive status, health, and social familiarity. And dogs process much of this through a second sense system most humans barely know exists, the vomeronasal organ, a specialized chemical detection organ designed specifically for biological signals. This means your dog has 2 smell systems, one for environmental odor, one for social chemistry. Imagine walking through your city and instantly knowing who was here, how they felt, whether they were sick, whether they were afraid, and whether they belonged. That's what your dog is doing, constantly. And this explains one of the strangest parts of walking, why dogs insist on sniffing the same exact spots, over and over. It seems repetitive, but neurologically it isn't, because scent landscapes change rapidly. Rain changes them, wind changes them, temperature changes them, time changes them. A place your dog sniffed yesterday is not the same place today. Chemically, it's an entirely new document, and your dog is rereading it. But there's something even more fascinating. Sniffing doesn't just gather information, it changes emotional state. Researchers studying canine stress have repeatedly found that allowing dogs to engage in exploratory sniffing lowers arousal and increases behavioral optimism. In simple terms, sniffing helps dogs regulate themselves. It calms the nervous system. It reduces frustration. It creates cognitive engagement. Think about what happens when humans solve puzzles. The brain rewards exploration. Dogs experience something similar because exploration itself is rewarding, not because of what they find, but because searching activates their biology, and evolution built it that way. Long before dogs slept in houses, they survived by tracking, finding prey, avoiding predators, locating pack members, detecting danger before seeing it. Smell was survival, and evolution doesn't erase systems that powerful, it repurposes them. That's why your Labrador obsessively sniffs bushes. Why your Beagle becomes almost impossible to interrupt once it catches a trail. Why scent hounds can follow odor trails days old. These aren't quirks, they're ancient neural systems still running. Modern dog, ancient software. And this creates a problem in modern life. Because human walks and dog walks are not the same thing. For humans, walks are movement. For dogs, walks are information. When you rush your dog through a walk without allowing sniffing, from your dog's perspective, it's like being dragged through a library without being allowed to read. The exercise still happens, but the mental enrichment doesn't. And mental enrichment matters, sometimes more than physical exercise. A 20-minute decompression walk full of sniffing can exhaust a dog more effectively than a faster, longer walk with no exploration. Because cognitive effort burns energy, decision making burns energy, information processing burns energy, and sniffing is all three. This is why behaviorists often recommend sniff walks for reactive, anxious, or high energy dogs, not as training, as therapy, because giving the brain an outlet changes behavior. But there's one final detail most owners never realize. Your dog can smell time, not literally, but functionally. As scents decay, their intensity changes, and dogs can detect those changes, which means smell contains temporal information, fresh scent, old scent, very old scent, that allows your dog to reconstruct sequences, not just who passed by, but when. Imagine seeing footprints and instantly knowing how many minutes ago they were made. That's close to what your dog experiences. And that means every walk is more than exploration. It's reconstruction. Your dog is piecing together invisible events, building timelines, tracking presence, updating memory, expanding its internal map. So the next time your dog stops at a patch of grass and refuses to move, nothing visible is happening, but neurologically, everything is happening. Its brain is decoding chemical messages, updating spatial memory, reading social signals, lowering stress, and reconstructing a world you can't even perceive. To you, it's just sniffing. To your dog, it's understanding reality. And maybe that's the strangest part. The world your dog lives in has been beside yours the entire time. Same streets, same parks, same sidewalks, but an entirely different universe. One built not from images, but from scent. And every walk is how they read it. Subscribe if you want to keep decoding the hidden science behind your dog's everyday behavior. Because the strangest things dogs do usually make perfect sense once you understand the brain behind them. If you want more behavioral science behind the strange, familiar things dogs do every day, stay with Canid Psychology.